Let's gonna start this. Good afternoon, team. Hello, Mentor Moises. How are you? You just entered when we started streaming. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you for coming, Moises. So, guys, you already have been editing your part on the slides, and we are gonna share the slides here, and every contributor will introduce itself for a second and then comment on the problems he or she has found during his GSoC regarding to artificial intelligence. So I'm sharing the slides in a second, hopefully. Okay, let me arrange a bit the streaming. And the first one is Mahinur.
Yes, hello everyone. So my project was AI-based touristic information tool. At the beginning, it was tailored to using Gemma locally. However, I faced some challenges using it locally, so I'm going to pass some of the challenges and some of the solutions I found for each of them. So the first one was having outdated or incorrect results, and this was due to some hallucinations or outdated Gemma, as the last trained data was in for example, 2023 or something. So to do that, I had two solutions for it. First of all, having a well-instructed prompt is a very important thing for avoiding hallucinations or trying to minimize it as much as possible. And another thing is using the RAG or retrieval augmented generation with web scraping. So I gather the data from the web to keep the model updated and pass this data as an extra context. Another challenge was running the model on limited resources. In this case was my CPU, because my laptop didn't have a GPU. And this was very challenging because it used to take, for example, maximum 1 hour. So this was very a long response time. And to do that, I tried using Colab and Kaggle. Of course, they had some challenges too, to keep them up and running. And lastly, I also, by the end, I used another GPU or another laptop to be able to complete and process my my Gemma model. Also, one of the challenges was finding the best web scraping method, because different web scrapings sometimes give error in different environments. And I found that the best way to do that is Python Google search package to be able to gather the best web scraping or the URLs. And then I use Asynchromium in LangChain to be able to use to load the data. I found that this was the best method to use it. Another challenge was to structure the model output and having a well-defined JSON format, because sometimes the model gives incorrect JSON format, or for example, an extra comma or extra braces. So to do that, there are two things. First of all, I have to instruct it well in the prompt that it should return a well-defined JSON format with an extra instructions, so it doesn't give a parsing error. And I also used a Pydantic output parser to be able to have a model that the Gemma model can do and bring the output in this format. So next slide, please. Another one of the challenges were the response time of the local Gemma. And after using it on a GPU, it still take much time. It took about 6 to 7 minutes when it was run on the AI server in Yeda Lab, and this is not a good user experience. That is why we suggested that we should turn into Gemini, and this could be solved by having a more powerful GPU, or a better GPU will make it have a less response time. Another challenge was having the Docker image run in any environment. To do that, there were some problems that I found. For example, an NVIDIA driver should be installed so the model can use a GPU, because other than that, it will use a CPU and it might crash the PC or the CPU. So we have to check that the NVIDIA driver is installed, and that after this, the NVIDIA toolkit is installed. And we also have to allow the firewall access to the port to be able to run the Docker successfully on any environment that is based. And the last thing is streaming the output for a better user experience using LangServe. This was also one of the challenges, because the streaming process wasn't very easy. But I used the stream event endpoint from LangServe app routes, and this helped me greatly in streaming the output at the end. So I guess this is all the challenges I have faced implementing my Gemma locally. And yeah, thank you.
Any comments on this? Manas is saying yes with her head. Any comments, Manas, on Mahinor's experience?
No, I'll be sharing some of these points in the future as well when I will be talking.
Okay. So, Moy, do you want to comment something?
I was a really nice project, but the problem here was the response time, because using that kind of models, it's a problem if you don't have a proper GPU or something that can accelerate that kind of LLMs. But if you have that hardware, I think the project is a good opportunity to offer a good solution or feature to the application. And I think that this was really nice. And
Thanks.
it was a good work.
Thanks, Moy. Any other comment from you guys? Chitkar? You have your time. Okay, next one. Shivan.
So my my project was AI fictional traveler itinerary generator. So what my project did was, let's say you wanted to go to some place, right? That is maybe some place in USA or somewhere, right? So we would generate a story of a traveler that went to those places in the form of an itinerary. So the problems that and initially this project was running locally on Gemma, and since it was taking a lot more time than expected to have a good user experience, we have switched it to Gemini now. So these are the problems that I faced. First of all was hallucination. The application itself, the Gemma itself, was not giving the precise locations. So to fix that, I used some Python packages. Just a second. So to fix that, I use some Python packages, and in Flutter, I use geocoding packages, right? And sometimes Gemma also gives locations that are not there. Let's say there's some place in Delhi, and Gemma said it's in Delhi, but it's not. It's in some other place. And sometimes the entire JSON collapses. So that was one of the problems that I faced. So this is one thing that I noticed in smaller models like Gemma 2 billion model and Gemma, let's say 7 billion model. The prompt that should be as simple as possible. That is what I discovered, because when I was giving it complex prompts, so it was mostly failing. But when I was doing the same thing with Gemini, I found out it was better to give as detailed prompt as possible to get better results. Now I had some Docker problems. So one thing I found out was every OS has different way of interaction with Olama. Olama is basically the tool that we were using for running Gemma locally, right? So since every OS has a different way of interacting with it, we also have to make a different way of using it in the Docker. Now, Docker Compose was one of the problems, since we were using a different, in Liquid Galaxy, we were using Ubuntu and I was using Windows. It was rather easier for me to have Docker Compose installed and have that run with the server itself, rather than having that done in the lab, because it was the thing that was installed was Linux, and it wasn't really configured properly for that. Now, other problem that I faced was image server. See, initially the server that I was using for images was Pexels, and that was causing some issues on Liquid Galaxy. So then I changed it for Pixabay. Other thing that I found out was different LLMs give different answers on the same prompts. So basically, if I have to use different LLMs, it would be the best if I created a prompt specific to that LLM to get the same response I might be getting from somewhere else. And different LLMs have different ways of integration, also have different ways of integrating with this. For example, when I was using Gemma, I had to parse in Python, then it a bit to have the JSON response that I want. Okay, but when I was doing it with Gemini, the prompt was complex, so it simply gave me what I wanted, and integration was way easier. The other thing that I found out was prompting methods like RAG would give way better responses. And the last thing was time required for prompts, of course. We have already discussed that. My laptop took 10 minutes for the prompt to get generated, whereas some of my colleagues, it took 1 minute or 2 minutes at that. And that's not really good if you're running this application on a server. So these are some of the things that I noticed. I have already told you about hallucination. And there's one more thing. As many number of parameters as a model has, the hallucination is going to be less and less. So I have tried a couple of models, and what I found out was Gemini 9 billion model was way better. It was not doing hallucinations than Gemma. The other thing was, if you don't have a good CPU, just don't run models locally, use something else. And I, that's about it. Can you change the next screen that has whatever I was talking about? Yeah. So that's about it.
Do you say everything?
I guess. Yeah, I just said everything, most of it.
Okay, so similar things to the marginal explanations. And any of you want to comment on this? Manas, Rohit. Sitkar is the happy, smiling guy because he was the very first one using Gemini, so he didn't have any problem. So it was a kind of situation. Okay, let's continue. Manas.
Yes, hello. My name is Manas. My application AI Tourist Explorers, it was also initially using the Gemma model, which was running locally. Then I have also switched to the Gemini API. So some of the problems which I faced with the model running locally include parsing. So the parsing of the response which you get from the model, many a times it gives issue, like it does not generate the perfect JSON format, and also it includes the prompt, the response has some unnecessary markdown in it. I have tried using like various different prompts for it as well, but I did not find any particular solution in that. The next thing is hallucination, which was mentioned earlier as well. Like in my case, where I was generating facts about the cities, the points of interest, the coordinates for the given points of interest. So for all of these three things, it was having a little bit of hallucination in it. Also, my application also supports multilingual languages. The response generally had some issues while generating in different languages. Docker. Also, the Docker, which I had set up earlier, was not running using the GPU of the system, and it had some issues running on the server. Inference time. So inference time, sending like 3 to 4 requests at the same time takes a little bit more time as compared to the Gemini API. I will discuss on this in the next slide. So then the searching for cities. So searching for cities was a problem I faced because I wanted to keep as already the scope of the application was quite big, to keep it limited to search only for the cities. The Google autocomplete text field does not like have a particular filter built in to just search for a particular type of location. So there are prediction types within each prediction. So we have to error handle according to that. That was done, and for the for like combating the hallucination, I also included the context from the Wikipedia. So each city's name is searched on Wikipedia, and then we extract the pages, the headings which are useful to us, and that is added to inside the prompt as a extra context. Yes, next slide. Yes, so some of the solutions which I came through for this were like for parsing some better prompts, made it sure that the JSON is formatted correctly. The second thing is like I used a function which like uses the regular expressions to remove the markdown language which may be included inside the response. Also, for hallucinations, like the Wikipedia content I said earlier, that was used, and also instead of like sending a single request to the API server, I sent 2 to 3 different requests, like one for geography, one for history, one for the points of interest, and then integrated the response together. So I had more detailed and better prompt, better results instead. Also, I added a retry option inside the application. So if the user faces some error in getting the response, he can re-click on the retry button, and then he will get the response as desired. The next thing is Docker. So I got to know that using a certain flag, like the GPU's flag, will fix like running the model on the using the GPUs. And one or two more things is I tried out like running the Docker, but I tried it using Ubuntu and Windows. But as far as I know, the AI server uses Rocky Linux, so I was not aware how to install the drivers or the NVIDIA toolkit there. So that was one of the issues. And in migration to the Gemini API, there were some issues like formatting of the code. So the response which we get from Gemini is a little bit different that I was getting from my own Flask API. So I had to refactor the code in my Flutter application to get it. So yes, that was it. That were all the issues I faced and some of the solutions.
Regarding the regarding the Rocky Linux version, all of you know that we have some structure specifically for the Liquid Galaxy, and all of you know that we run Rocky Linux, not Ubuntu, not Windows, for the Docker images. Mm-hmm. So I understand you didn't install it, but you know that because we trained you on the what is the specification of the service we have, and we use Rocky Linux because it's the default standard that was already installed last year with our mentor, Google Developer Expert in Cloud, Mario Ezquerro, and this is our architecture. So it was a comment because before I thought she would also comment on this, but it was running Ubuntu, but this was not right. It was the Rocky Linux thing. Minor.
Yes, I wanted to add that also what helped me in figuring out the issues with the AI server in NIDA Lab was trying to install the Rocky Linux in a WSL instance. So to try to find the commands that are appropriate for like to have the system similar to the one in the AI server there, so it can help me in debugging more.
Yeah, totally. Okay, any comment, guys? No? Yes? No? Any other question?
It's actually it's actually interesting that for the same problem like Manas and Shiveen and Mahinur had the parsing problem, all of these three have implemented different issues. So for parsing, let's say Manas has created better prompts, whereas Mahinur has used a data validation library. Whereas if it was discussed in the public chat, everyone could have used the Pydantic library or any other data validation library, and it would have been solved easier. This is my opinion.
At the same time, I think it's nice because every contributor with their mentor develop one strategy, and it depends. I mean, it will work or not, but So having one standard for that kind of so new things, it's not feasible, I think. As I said many times before to all of you, we are at the really starting of this new, I would say, industry, and things are happening so fast. So we face issues, of course. Siddhar, the happy guy because he ran their system from the very beginning against Google Cloud API.
So with Gemini API, I only faced two issues. One was like when getting response from Gemini, so the coordinates are like not correct. It is still within like 1 or 2 kilometer radius, but is not like exact radius. And another issue was that like in JSON response, sometime Gemini is giving like in markdown format, and sometime it was giving like direct text response. So can you
You are
please
lucky if you only get 2
connect?
kilometers difference on the coordinates. We saw projects from some guys, something like 5,000 kilometers, saying, okay, I'm going to show you the Taj Mahal, and then suddenly the system went to the middle of the ocean. And believe me, I still never been in India, but I know Taj Mahal is not there, not underwater. So you're lucky. You're lucky. I know you're lucky. Okay.
So for the wrong coordinates, I changed the prompt to return the location of the place in with the like latitude and longitude, so that I can use geocoding library to fetch latitude and longitude from the name of the location. And for the parsing issue, I added another layer before parsing the Gemini response to the model, so that I can remove all the markdown symbols and codes, and the parsing can be like with error free. So that was it.
So even you being a happy guy using Gemini, you didn't have everything right, because those are general problems for all the models, being 2 billion models, or I don't remember how many millions has the Gemini version you use, or 1.5 or whatever, 1.0. Also, we have to remember that when we started the things about the projects starting in January, when we started to prepare the projects, no one know what's going to happen with Gemini. There was no Gemini still. Then suddenly there was Gemini. Then suddenly you have access in India, but we do not have access in Europe. So it's been a pain, total pain. So you happy guy, always smiling, using having a 5 seconds delay to respond. Yeah, to answer. Mahinur, just up to you, up in the mid, get 10 minutes, 5 seconds. You were a lucky guy. Okay. Any question on this? No? Ryan, your thing is different. Explain us what happens with your project.
Yeah, so my project is kind of split into two smaller projects, I guess. One is an API to integrate voice to voice with like speech to text endpoints, and as well as text to speech, as well as there's another Flutter app I've been working on to integrate the whole voice to voice flow. So yeah, I think most of the errors came from the actual Flutter application, but yeah, when receiving the response from LLMs, I guess the models that were updated recently, so like Google Gemma released 9b very recently, so it kind of started returning values that were, I guess, not like just typical alphabet characters. So it started returning like emojis, like different characters. So it's like, you know, stuff like that, especially for like text to speech. It was very hard for it to recognize because like there's no sound for an emoji, right? So then I had to like kind of use right. I kind of thought about different ways, but I ultimately came up with like a regex solution to kind of just parse out just the alphabets so that the text to speech API would know, at least be able to recognize all the words and then not kind of stumble across like the weird and throw errors. So that was yeah, an interesting kind of problem to go with, because I guess in the very beginning the 9b model wasn't released, and so I didn't really face that issue. And then when I integrated that later on, I guess throughout like the later half of the project, I realized that became an issue. So I had to fix that, so that even in the future, if there are additional models, the problem, I guess, won't really persist because I filter out stuff that isn't special. So yeah.
Excuse me. There is a proposition here for any of you or any other people can listen to us later. Is that there is a market or a possible product here, because maybe someone can create sound for the emojis. Imagine you get back a Sidhar's big smile, and then you can create a specific sound to assign to the emoji regular smiling guy, because most of the emojis are standard. There is a standardization also on emojis. So someone maybe can create a library of. Are you listening to us, Moises? Have you listened to the proposal I'm giving to the guys? Are you listening?
I think you just joined.
You were away.
Not really, because I have some connection issues.
Okay. So the thing is that Ryan is talking now. Your mentee is talking now, and he was saying that at some point the LLMs were returning him emojis instead of regular characters, and then he has a problem what to do with the emojis. And after listening to this problem, I was saying to all of the people here on the meet, and also to other people that can listen to us later, is that there is an opportunity for a project there. Is doing something like a sound for every emojis that are standard, and someone can create I don't know how to simulate a emoji with sound, but create a library of sounds for the emojis.
That could be really awesome, to be honest, because it's part of the language that we are using, and the LLMs can do it the same. Because if we are testing in that way, they can do it. And that could be really, really nice to create that kind of library.
Okay, continue, Ryan. Your mentor is here.
Yeah, and then I guess the other big issue was definitely for the Flutter app, kind of getting back. I think a lot of people also had this issue, is kind of getting like a coordinate back from the LLM. So I think it was just I guess all of us kind of want it in like a specific format, but then the LLMs usually likes to talk a lot, so then they add characters that we don't expect to be there. So kind of had to prompt it a lot, and kind of definitely had like a back and forth, like a lot of testing sessions, kind of go like, and then ultimately I wrote like a whole like a very long paragraph, like just return like just a JSON object, or else my app will not work. And then I got it to return like the longitude, the latitude, and then the response to the question. And then after that, a lot of trial and error, but I had got in the format that I wanted it to. So I guess those were the two biggest, I think, problems in terms of using LLMs. Can we go next, please? So approach for new projects. I guess my project was slightly different in the sense that I got to try out a lot of other models compared to, I think, a lot of people, because especially with like speech to text and text to speech. And one thing I definitely learned was that even though they all kind of do have the same goal, like if there's like 10 models that do text to speech, they all have the same goal to convert text to speech. But I think just I guess with these models existing, I think it was very nice to actually get a feel for like to try different models and see what they're all like. Because even though they aim for the same thing, I think, especially with like how the models are created and how we can customize them, I think it was just like very different experience using some of them. And that also ties in with like speed. Not all models kind of, I guess, behave in the same way that we wanted to, as especially with like a voice-to-voice feature, we want everything to be very quick, so that when a user talks into the app, we would like the voice to be as fast as possible. But then trying some, I guess, models, I realized that this wasn't really going to work out with something. Like I had tried when I first tried text to speech with the Bark model on my local laptop. I think it took like over 10 minutes to get back a response. So in a realistic sense, that's not really going to be feasible for like an app that users are going to use. So that kind of made me like want to test out different apps, those different voice models, and I think that was a very good experience to kind of see, hey, this there are different things that we can try out, and I think it's good to explore and kind of keep your options open. But,
I want to ask Mahinur. Mahinur, you have tried at least to implement Ryan's code. Could you please tell us about your experience?
Yes, I tried integrating the text-to-speech and speech-to-text. Actually, the text-to-speech worked well, It was taking for 2 seconds, I think, to answer, or 3 seconds, not much time. However, I struggled with the speech to text. It didn't give a text correct result. It gave out empty text, but I wasn't sure if this was due to the integration with Flutter or the API itself. But I haven't been able to successfully try it out.
Oh, I think that's something I definitely struggled with. Because I think you're using the emulator, right?
Yes.
Because in the Flutter emulator, there's like a setting on the emulator itself where you have to actually like externally turn on like mic. Like in the app, it also asks you like mic permissions, but in like the actual emulator itself, they also have like a separate microphone section. And I think I struggled with that for like hours until recently, and it turns out, yeah, you have to turn that on for it to be able to record. So I think yeah. Have you tried doing the speech to text with like a preset audio before?
Yes, I tried actually opening this in the permissions and in the settings for the emulator itself, and I enabled this settings, but still I didn't get the result back. But I think it could be just an emulator issue. But,
Yeah, because the one thing I started with was like I grabbed like I didn't start recording randomly, but I got like a example like audio file from the internet that already existed, and then I tried using the API for that. And then once that worked, I realized if that fails, I know like it's the API that's the issue. Otherwise, if it works, then it's more of the emulator. But yeah, that's one thing I definitely did to see if like where the problem lied.
Okay, Shiven, what was your question?
No, I just wanted to add to it. Mainu, like I have integrated my speech to text model, right? So the one thing that I have discovered that in some of the Windows emulators, because I tried it on a couple of laptops, the speech to text does not work. You basically cannot speak in there. So what the solution that I found to that, I connected my mobile to my laptop, specifically for testing this particular thing, and that's how I was able to integrate it successfully. So if you are still having issues with not being able to speak in the emulator, I would suggest you to use a real phone or real lap or a tablet to test for that, and that would be able to solve that problem.
Shiven, you
Or if
actually
you
use
have a
DeepGram API, is that right?
No, I use a built-in Flutter package. So I was having this
Who was
same
the one
problem.
that used DeepGram? I don't remember.
I used it.
Manas.
I got it to work.
No. I'm saying about the other projects. It was Manas.
Oh, okay.
Manas, what was
Yes,
your
yes, I used
experience,
DeepGram.
Manas?
My experience was like I have some issues with it as well. Like overall, it is very smooth. Like when we generate the story content, I send it to the DeepGram API, and within like it is very instant. We get the response, and I can play it from the app. But one issue I have faced with it was after integrating it, as my app is multilingual, I did not find any support for multilingual speech. So it was just giving the answer in English for every language.
Normal. If it's difficult to make a real-time language, then not hundreds of languages, and this is a real hell. Shiven, continue with your question.
No, I was just like suggesting to Mainu if she is still busy with it, that would be a good way to check whether it's the problem with your code or with the emulator. Because what I found was it was the problem with my emulator, not the code.
Moises, I have a question for you. If you, one second, Mahinur. I have a question for Moises because just a few days ago, Google with the Gemini introduced the Gemini Live. Is that right? And Gemini Live has this interaction by voice in real time. But the question I don't know if you know maybe if this is gonna, and you can say because you have some NDA contracts, if Google is gonna offer this in a API way that developers can develop application using that live streaming of voices interactively. Is my question?
Okay, we have to wait some time to know which is going to be the offer that is going to be in the cloud and in the different applications that we will have available. Then maybe in some weeks or maybe some months, we will know it is possible to use this like using an APK and just interacting or integrating this, for example, in Flutter in an easy way or in another kind of applications. But
it's
I assume it's something that is going to happen, because if not, they are not going to create that kind of service, which should be really useful to integrate the interaction with an LLM in an easy way using voice.
You're muted now. You're muted.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, I trying to say that maybe it's going to be, I think that it's going to be available, because I assume that they are creating to offer these kind of services or applications and the different tools that they have, for example, Flutter or other things. But who knows, because sometimes it's not easy to know what is the big plan for Google on how is these kind of technologies are going to be useful or used by the community, or are going to be only for the cloud, or I'm not totally sure.
But at least they are gonna, they are at this moment introducing this to some users, the Gemini Live, to some users. Paid ones, I think, the paid ones.
Yeah, for now, I think that this is available for paid ones, but maybe in the future it's going to be for all the kind of
not for all, because I am a paid customer and I don't have it still, but I am in English, not in Spanish, but I don't have it. Maybe it's also a question of regions.
But I'm not totally sure about that, sorry.
Yeah, no problem, of course. Mahinur, what was your question?
No, it's not a question. I was just saying that I will try out in a real phone or something to try if to see if the problem is in the emulator or just in something in the code.
Okay. Was there any other question? Any other people in the queue? Any other of you want to make a question? Because I don't know if there was another question in the queue. No? Okay, let's continue. Rohit.
Yeah, so my project was AI fictional travel itinerary generator using Grok API.
Using
So
Grok
I have,
API, I want also to see you smiling, because you guys are a happy guy, a lucky guy, like Siddhar next to you on the meet, because you are using the fastest inferer in the market. And I have to say, I'm not sure if you take all the power you have on your hands to your project. So go.
So I have faced the similar issues as the other contributors. So the first thing is the incorrect coordinates that I was getting from the Grok API. And second thing was the JSON response, because every time we select another model, then the response changes, and it's like something comes in the beginning or at the end, or something extra characters added, etc. And third one was the response. Every model has its different response speed. Like for Gemma 1, Gemma 2, it was quite bit. It was little fast, and when I switched to like Llama, it was little slower. And but its response, the description was quite long. And the last thing was prompting. So it's like I have tried a lot of prompts to generate that single response for all those models. Can you switch to the next page? So regarding the solution, so what I found is since we're not getting the correct coordinates, so I have used Google Places API. So I have parsed those locations and got those coordinates, and then finally using that coordinates, I then from the same Places API, I get the images of those places, and then parse into like the base64 and displayed it onto the KML. The second thing I've used for a good prompt, so what I've done is written a simple prompt. It's like what I need. So it's like if I need the title or the description, I given all the things in that prompt, and from then I have like filtered the strings so that I can only get those which are inside those brackets, and from then whichever model I use to get the correct and parsed output into the Dart model. So it was like quick fix, and I have done that. So that's all.
It's also curious, as Vedan was saying before, that you use Google Places API, but the other guys use other APIs. Please open your mic and say what APIs do you use when you find this problem. Shivan,
Geocoding.
use your coding. Mahinur
Yes, geocoding too.
and Siddhar,
Geocoding.
Manas.
Yeah, I was also using geocoding.
But still, again, some of your projects, and this is something I don't like, but I don't want to criticize anyone today. It's not the day to criticize. Let's wait for Friday. But still, some of your projects are sending coordinates to a very strange place, but coordinates in resource that you have as demo. Coordinates contents that you already have to test. You cannot send in an application something that you have tested before. It's not something the LLM is returning to you and sending the Taj Mahal to the medium of the ocean. This is not good. Okay. So let me talk a little bit now, and we are almost closing. So from our point of view, so most of you have said those problems, no? You work in a different environment that we. But you have to attach to our environment, because remember, your applications are not for finally running on your lovely computer at home. Your applications are to finally run in a Liquid Galaxy environment, which structure we decide as project. And you all know that we are going to run this on a Rocky Linux, we are going to run this on a Ubuntu cluster of machines, we are going to run this on a Docker tablet 10 inches with targeting API 34. You all know, because we trained you a lot, what is the structure you have to work with, and you didn't work. Some of you start to use Docker Desktop. We don't use Docker Desktop. No, we are other technologies, and you all have the information, so you fail on this. Also, you fail not using GPU. I know you don't have GPUs. Some of you do not have GPUs. Of course, everyone has the money available, computer, whatever. Never we can criticize on this, of course. Even we don't have the best GPUs on the market. We have a very old GPU. But not using GPU, and also using GPU, sending commands to use GPU instead. So system was even slower. You said problems with NVIDIA drivers. Your problems, not our problems, because we have the system where you have to run a Docker file without your needs, and you have to fulfill your needs there. It's been a pain, totally, with the Docker. Firewalls, ports opening. This is something we told you since the very beginning. You have some ports for you. You have to host those ports, and of course, you have to open the ports. And also giving us the information for the Docker installation, for your Docker installation, was a very poor writing. Most of your documentation was poorly written. We understand this. generally, developers are very bad at doing documentation, but the problem is that we need to replicate your code in our system, in the master system of the Liquid Galaxy, and your documentation was never good. So we have to have interactions, and we're losing days and days and days and days. And those loose days were the ones that are making us today that we are almost finishing, and you still have something to give us. And some of you are still lagging. Well, I will have a brief comment on this. So when you work, you need to do good documentation in the right environment. So you have to reply in your system, the environment you're going to work, and do the right installation. Some of you didn't remember to put the curl commands to test. I'm not looking at anyone. Didn't remember to put the firewall ports opening. Didn't remember many things. Mahinur, go.
Yes, I wanted to add something about the NVIDIA drivers installation. I think this is not a container issue or an image issue, because it has to be installed on the server before doing this. So that is something that
I agree with you, but those were installed. I mean, it's another different question. Maybe here is a question more at if we continue to develop on this way, and we're going to have a conversation after these slides. If we continue at the Liquid Galaxy, and this conversation is most for Vedan, for you, for Moy, and I don't know for the other guys, because I hope you continue with the Liquid Galaxy, being mentors. Next year, Mahinur hopefully will be mentoring. And we have to decide what things went wrong this year, what things are going to happen in a whole year till we develop again GSoC, hopefully, or the different applications we will be developing in the autumn, because not everything is GSoC. So we need to think about this. We're going to have a slide conversation after the slides, and then we will have a senior mentor and mentors conversation about this later. Okay, so another question is that, what I say, one thing is running local and one thing is running against an API. One thing is running open source. We are an open source community. We have to try to use open source tools. We have to try to use open source models and so on. But this is the eternal dilemma. We have found this year that even the closed ones only available in API, like Gemini and so on, are not still perfect, to say something, or giving you emoticons, or giving you brackets in the middle, or giving you totally crazy coordinates. And also we have to balance cost versus free usage. To be true, in the last weeks that we pivot some of your applications, mostly Shiven, Mahinur, and Mana's applications, we pivot the applications instead to the Docker local to the Gemini, and we've been doing many tests, and it's for at least for develop at home at the labs, and I imagine for you the same. It's so cheap. Of course, if you launch an application or you have a project on the internet and hundreds of thousands of users will use your code, you have to change your mind. But for the kind of users we have usually, I have charges on my credit card for cents. It's very cheap. So what will happen with the artificial intelligence market in the next months? Nobody knows. Even our beloved mentor Moises, that is also a PhD on machine learning and artificial intelligence, will say that no one knows what is that hidden. We have the famous, Gartner curve, that at this moment it seems that we are floating in the top, but suddenly some of the people are starting to go down, and no one knows what technology will survive, what will be the middleware of the future to be really adopted, Llamas, line chain, you name it, the many things you tried this year. So as we say at the very beginning of the projects, I would say in the spring, that we are trying the artificial intelligence this year. So access time. So again, 5 to 10 minutes. This was a problem that maybe I don't want to blame your mentors. Never. Those persons are persons that for free give their time to you. So I will never blame a mentor. But having like Mahinurs, or like, I don't want to say names, but we are your family, or Shiven responses from 6 to 10 minutes. This is something that at the very beginning, when you saw that, you have to say no to your mentor or to me. No, because this is not going to happen. You cannot offer a service that the user has to wait 10 minutes, 6 minutes, even 3 minutes. No. Siddharth will smile now, because here have 5 seconds answer. And Rohit also has to have 5 seconds answers. So I think that we fail at some moment at the very beginning of the project, something like, I don't know, end of June, before we deliver the very first versions. If you saw that this is taking as much as time, we will have to be taking the decision earlier, because this is not feasible. You cannot give to a client in your future, when you will be totally really nice engineers doing software for whatever company, you cannot do this. So maybe we fail not detecting this. And also, as you were working with Dockers that were not installed on our system because the money problem we have, we also at the Liquid Galaxy Lab headquarters, we didn't notice till very late. And when we started to notice this is when we say, no, we're changing, okay? So, and also it will happen that when we send your applications to the Play Store, that remember that it's the goal for all the applications we develop, all the projects we do, Google will not accept, Google or Apple, if you send to Apple or whatever, Google will not accept this because it's something like an error. If you have to wait 10 minutes, 6 minutes, 3 minutes even for a response, the system will say your application is not working, it's broken. So not Google will approve this, not the users. A user, when stays like you, when you stay more than a few seconds waiting for something and it's not working, you leave it and you go to another place. That's the way it's. So we made the decision for the Gemini API, and we adopted whatever system you did with the PubDev package or whatever system you use. And I have to say, and I have to thank, I did already this publicly, to Shiven, to Mahinur, to Manas. You take your time to change it. I know this was something kind of revolutionary point, but again, we have to be detecting this earlier, and maybe earlier we have taken the decision, and you and us, because remember, it's not only you. Behind you is your mentor. Behind you and your mentor is a very large team of other persons. We didn't lost as much time going for a technology that takes us as many minutes to get an answer. This is not feasible, but nothing. This is experience we're taking. This is something we have for the future and for our experience. So no problem there. So let me comment on the last hours. Still, I don't have. I think some of this has changed in the last minutes. Gerard has sent me the video. So Mahinur, you still have some videos to send me. You only sent me one.
No, I sent the demo, the full demo video.
The full one?
Yes.
In the demo you sent me, is everything inside?
Yes, the 3 parts.
Okay. Then I did remember you told me that this was not the full video.
No, it's the full one.
Okay, so get rid of this page. Manas, where are your videos?
My videos are actually like I have recorded them. I'm editing some of them to remove them.
It's 6 p.m. Only 6 hours. 6 p.m. in Spain.
It will be done within. It will be done in 2 hours.
Okay, be careful with this guy. You know, Alitra is not Alitra there because Alitra is not with artificial intelligence problem. But Alitra, if you are seeing this, remember, you are still lagging of sending the videos, and we don't have time for waiting for anyone, as you know, for months and months ago. Gerard has already sent the video a few minutes ago, and Rofaida still haven't sent the video. Could you please send a WhatsApp to Rofaida after we end Mahinur and say, Rofaida, Andrew is asking for your video, because we cannot wait more than today for the videos. We have something like 60 videos to edit. 60 total. 60 videos, and believe me, as just you know, Friday will be a large streaming. That's the reason, because there are 60 videos, because we are mentors, we are contributors. The demos we recorded on the Liquid Galaxy headquarters, the demos you recorded at your home, the 3 parts some of you did, so it's complicated. So please send everything today, as you know from months ago. Let me end the slide, Shivan, and I will give you the word. 4 of you still have some errors. You have videos that we sent, Oscar and I and Mark, we sent this morning to you, this midday in Spain, and you still have pending issues. And some of them are very hard. And the problem is that if you don't repair those issues, Google will not accept your applications, and then you will have a problem. And finally, 5 applications are already published in the Play Store, and this is fantastic. But we have still 5 more to publish, 5 minimum. And also of these projects, there are 1 or 2 that are still in bad shape. And when I say bad shape, I don't want to go deep on this, but they might have problems because they have issues that are very serious. And if they don't repair these issues, the projects will not be accepted, not by Google, not by us. So sadly, those persons will not be finalists in their GSoC. So I hope we still are 6 days till GSoC ends, till 26 Monday, next Monday. You have plenty of time. Devote all the time to correct these errors, please, and you still can perform. Shivan, what do you? Who was?
I just had a question, just one thing to confirm. We had to send one video of 15 minutes for the demo day, right?
No, please, Shiven, I will say again, read my instructions. My instructions do not say this. It's easy. You all have an email from me and many streamings where we explain how to do that. And what you're saying is not right.
So
I don't want
had to
I don't
send a
want
10-minute
to
video, a
I don't want to
3-minute
explain you live what you have to do. Why? Because we already have said this too many times. You have the obligation to be following the information and act. You receive, like I do all the other persons, an email saying perfectly clear what's the video and what parts have to be the video and what has to be the time of every part. Look for the email, and if you don't find the email, ping me back, and I will send you again the email. But you have it. Mahinur, you're muted.
I wanted to ask that from what I understand from the email that we have to do 3 parts of the video and then send the final demo video as 1 part. That is what I did today. That I sent the full demo video, 15 minutes maximum, to the 3 parts together. So I wanted to check if this is also right.
Are you asking me?
Because this is what I understood, that we have to make the experience video and the tech video and take them to reuse them in the demo video but shorter. And this is what I did, and I integrated them all in 1 video.
There is
And,
no problem. There is
send
no
the
problem if you send 1 video or you send 3 videos. Some of you have sent 3 videos. Some of you have sent 2 videos with 2 parts in 1 video or other part. That's not a problem. The thing is that you have to send the 3 parts. Your personal experience, your coding review, and the demo in your system. Then to this, we add the Liquid Galaxy Lab big Liquid Galaxy demos that we recorded yesterday and today, and your mentor's comments and so on. So this is the reason we have 60 videos to edit. Shiven, do you need something?
No, I just did the same as Mahinur, so I think I did right.
Okay, good. What else? I will appreciate if you want to share your thoughts now about what we have said. I mean, do you have an opinion on what happened, what we can do for repair this, what we can do in the future? I don't know. As I said, we will have in the upcoming months to make some analysis of this. But I wanted you all that have been so involved in the artificial intelligence projects this year to give some thoughts on your experiences for other students to have it, and share it if you think there can be solutions. So raise your hand, and if you don't raise your hand, I will ask you to everyone. So Manas, start.
So the first thing which comes to in my mind is setting up the different drivers and the toolkits or whatever is needed to run the GPU, run the Docker containers using the GPUs. So we can have we can test it out in our systems using Rocky Linux, and then we can write some documentation for it to actually complete the setup for the server.
Okay, noted. I mean, I as I said before, I'm not 100% sure on this, but you most of you have problems with this, or noted. Next, and Mana, do you want to comment on some other stuff like the other problems you have or other guys have, or what we can do in the future? Not only your reportation is very good, but any other question? A little more.
Mm-hmm. I'll get back if I have.
Okay, no problem. It's not obligation. Ryan, go.
Yeah. One thing that I wish, I guess we all kind of this is something I wish I did as well. But I think considering we have a lot of contributors working towards a project and a lot of mentors who are all available on Discord, I think one thing I also I wish would have done was just to talk in the server more, not just to help ourselves, but then also to help other contributors and then mentors, so that mentors are aware of what problems we're facing throughout the project, so that they can try to help, as well as if there's other non-contributors, just whoever in the Discord is interested in contributing or wants to get to know more about our project, they can ask questions as well. That's something I wish I would have done throughout the summer, so that I guess people kind of knew where I was in the stage instead of just, I guess, demoing in like a few videos. But yeah, it's just one.
What I have to tell you is simple. Discord is one of the part of our community, so we are using it.
Yeah.
So if this didn't happen, Ryan, it's because you contributors or the other people don't use it. And this is not totally true, because at some point there were discussions or comments on this.
Yeah.
People requesting things, people answering things. I don't remember now. I can check it. There are something like 800 people on the Discord channel. That's not a lot, but there is a huge quantity. And I would say 50 of those persons are for real on doing things for the community. 50 or 100. So if you don't use the system, I will personally not do, and I need it for some, I will say, light communications, is to use Discord for the main communications. Again, I said it from the very beginning. I will send you email. For me, for the community, email is the right thing, because Discord is something happens there, and maybe you didn't take note or so. But if you get an email from me or from a mentor, you know that this is serious. So that's the way. So I appreciate your opinion, Ryan. And do you have any other opinion regarding the all the issues we have regarding artificial intelligence with your project or with the other projects?
Oh no, I think everything else is good. I think we had a lot of good mentors throughout the whole project, so I really enjoyed getting feedback and everything. So I think that's it.
Okay.
For me, I think.
Thanks, Mahinur.
I also think that the communication this year was a little low on Discord, and I think it would have been very helpful. If we had more communication, every contributor saying his, for example, experience and the work he has done, for example, every now and then. So and all the issues that the contributors face, and the problems that they fix or find. So it can help another contributor that is facing the issue.
You're saying exactly the same words that Ryan, I understand. So I agree 100%. So we have the tool. If the people did not use it for asking questions or for sharing their knowledge, it's because they don't want, they were pretty busy. People have many reasons, and we cannot obligate people to do anything. The only obligation is to read our emails and attend our emails. The other things is, a question of personal matter. But I agree with you all. Discord is a very good tool, and we have to use more. Maybe we have to think, Mahinur, methods, ways of having the community having more interaction through Discord. Maybe for the future. I'm leaving you an idea. Shiven, your point.
I also agree with the communications method, and I think it would have been better to use LGWiki earlier than I did in the project. Those were the two things. Because
what? Sorry, repeat. Usually what?
Firstly, I was talking about the communications issue.
No, the
since
second
we
thing.
did not talk much.
The second thing?
Second thing was LGWiki. I did not use LGWiki as much as I think I should have. So some of the problems could have been solved earlier. So I think that's
you have to pardon me, but I don't get the point. You say SGDK? What do you say?
So what I was saying is LGWiki has some of the solutions of the common problems that we might face as contributors while connecting to the Liquid Galaxy. So I think I should have used that more. So that's what I was saying. If it is like propose more that that LGWiki might have all the solutions to the problems that could have been something.
I assure Shiven, it's not up to you. It's up to my ears and up to the communication. But I still don't understand what tool are you talking about. Repeat.
We have a wiki, right? Where
you mean the wiki?
And yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, I didn't. Sorry, yes, it's a question of the communication, not between you and me, but maybe for the. So you say use more the wiki.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. We made a lot of efforts. Sit here, open your camera and show us your smile. You did plenty of work next to Deb that is not here, and of course Mentor Bedan doing stuff for the wiki, and that's true. I mean, we did a very hard work filling up the wiki, and people say, okay, how can I make an orbit? Man, woman, we have the instruction on the, we have something like 90 entries on the wiki, and there is not one, many ways of doing the orbit, or how to, many things are in the wiki. So I agree 100%. So use more the wiki, fantastic. It's also up to the people. I say this on Discord. People asking, I need that. Go to the wiki, make a search, it's there. Of course the wiki is not perfect in the sense that it has not all the contents. Even it may be like an LLM, maybe some of the content is not totally perfect, but it's there and it will help you. I thank you, Shivan. A good point to use the Siddhar made next to Dev and Vedant tool. I agree. Okay, we are gonna do that for sure, because we will still continue to taking. Evan, you're gonna receive an email. I can just show my calendar. At some point after we pass the hard things that is today, videos and so on, I will send you an email saying that every contributor this year has to send at least before GSoC ends one more entry to the wiki for one thing they have found in their experience this year that is not on the wiki, and it is something important for the wiki. This is on our calendar of stuff, but I don't want to give you more work till you and the application that is the real thing. So who else? Rohit, have you given us your take on this, on general whatever?
So I think prompting. I guess if there is good prompts for us for the next contributors, like for the reference, then it would be very nice, because that would not take much of their time and they can focus on other things.
So what is the
So
idea?
it's like set of
Create a set of prompts.
a lot of prompts, something like that.
Well, I think this can be a good idea for the entry of the wiki. Most of you that have worked, I would say, a lot or less doing prompts and testing, maybe you already have some prompts that work well, and you can. Some of you have shared the thing about the working against Gemini or Gemma, using different kinds of prompts, give you different kinds of answers logically. So maybe this is a good point for doing an entry to the wiki that, of course, was not did before because we didn't work with prompts before. Good idea. Any other thing you want to comment, Rohit, on the general issues that happens with your project or with the other projects?
No, I was just this.
Okay, Siddhar.
Actually, all the issues I faced are already mentioned by other contributors.
No, I don't want
So-
to. I don't want you to mention more issues. I don't want to. No, I don't want to mention you about ideas for the future. You have an experience. You all have some experience this year, some research, some things that work, some things that don't work. And my question now is, how can we deal with this on the future? Do you have any proposal on this for the community or for the or for the doing the artificial intelligence technologies adoption?
In future, we can like fix some issues in LGWiki UI. I only faced that issue. Like sometime wiki is going like scrolling up, so there are some issues, UI issues only.
Well, that's not a huge problem. I think that the wiki works well. At least there were some issues, but those are not important. The important thing is that there are contents. Is there content? Is there a way to create more content? And is there a way that people uses the wiki? This is the most important. But I agree with you. Always we can do something. But my question was related to the artificial intelligence things. Do you have any approach? Because always you're the happy guy. You use Gemini from the very beginning, and you need to use an API and get response in 5 seconds.
One thing we can do is provide like detailed prompts for the Gemini API.
Okay, this is already said by Rohit.
There are like no other issues I face.
Not issues. I am again, Siddhar. I'm talking about ideas for the future. No ideas, no future, only smiles.
No idea.
No ideas. You are using Gemini, you say, okay, Google will provide me with technology. Fantastic. Bedan, thank you for staying here with us. Give us your point of this, on all of these things.
I mean, I think by
Excuse me.
all of
Excuse
these
me.
issues,
And also because you have not mentored one person but two mentors, and one person was Siddhar that happily uses Gemini and there was not too much problem, but you also mentor
Shivain,
Shiven. It's up to you. What happened with Shiven? Shiven used Gemma because he has to use Gemma, and he has response times from 5 to 7 minutes, and this was not okay. So what was your experience being a mentor dealing with those two kind of different problems, one using Gemini API and the other using Gemma? Explain us.
I mean, Siddharth rarely had issues. The only issues he had was with Flutter, and Shivain sometimes had issues with Docker a lot. And I understand that it is a bit complex technology, but it was a good experience, learning curve. But what I think is that the AI thing is going pretty fast, and 90% of these issues will be solved next year. I mean,
90%? You are very optimist. 90%.
Yes, 80 to 70%, because considering how developers are using this thing, and I've talked to some people, I think there are solutions being built for this.
Okay, Mentor Moises, that is, remember, Google Developer Expert in Machine Learning, Artificial Intelligence, and has a PhD on machine learning, so he's a doctor. So he knows very well what's the status of the market, and I feel he will not agree with you. Some of the issues will be solved, of course, but this is a emerging technology, and things are happening really fast, and we don't know what's going to happen.
No, I'm not talking about the model side. I'm talking about, let's say, libraries being built for this.
I understand you, but one thing is connected to the other. I mean, libraries are connected to the models, are connected to the middleware tools you're using, the llamas, the langchains, or all the different topics you use. But okay, I just say that you are a little bit optimist, but this is good to be confident with the future. That's good. That's good. Okay, is any other person that has not said their opinion? I think we all done. And yes, this is it. See you on Friday for GSoC 2024 Demo Day. Remember, we will start at 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time, and it will be long. So bring your water. And remember, the ones that haven't sent the video to me, send it as soon as possible, because we are only 5 hours left of the 20 that you have to send the video. So thank you very much for coming today, guys, and see you on Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.